I've been doing belly dance, aka Middle Eastern dance, since a long time now, since the early 80s. And I think the best change I've seen is that this dance has expanded to include all kinds of women, all ages, because I'm not a 20-something anymore, but I still dance and I love this dance. I teach this dance. And so it includes women of all different ages, all different sizes. When I first started, the whole concept of belly dancing was, you know, the harem scarum, how to belly dance for your husband thing, restaurant work, that was the scope of belly dancing. It's so different now. We have community shows, we have festivals like Rakaza, Art of the Belly, where this dance is celebrated and has become its own art form. It's taken many years, but this dance is now an art form, much as flamenco and other world dances that we've seen so much. And that to me has been the most thrilling thing, to be a part of that, to have delved into all the aspects of Middle Eastern dance, the folkloric, North African, with some wonderful teachers, the most wonderful teachers in the world, fusion, and just pure belly dance. Have gone to Egypt and to have studied with some of the greatest masters like Mahmoud Reda, Sahara, Dalia Corella, Morocco, and Ibrahim Farah, of course. I'm so blessed, and I've met the best people in my life through dance. I'm very blessed. To me, the only thing that bothers me, now I love fusion dance. I love seeing American tribal fusion, and all the many manifestations. But it troubles me that in some ways I feel the dance has gotten very far away from basic belly dance. It's turned into almost another aspect of modern dance rather than a representation of another culture. And this to me was always one of the most important things, was you're interpreting the culture of another country. And it's important to realize, even as you're fusing this culture with other things, with modern, with other dance forms, that you retain the respect for that culture. And sometimes I see that disappearing, and I see dance forms that just really have nothing to do with belly dance anymore. And it kind of bugs me that sort of looped in together. I love burlesque for the same reason I love burlesque dancing, but sometimes I see this sort of overlap between burlesque and belly dance. That's no, it's completely two different art forms. Please, let's keep them separate. And I love both. So sometimes I think people just need to kind of step back and take a little scholarly look at the dance, where it's from and where it's going.
There is one huge change which I find extremely positive, but I can see how some people can find it negative. And to me, that is pervasive filming, the video recording of everything in dance and belly dance, from beginner performances to star performances. There are many dancers, even stars from the mid-20th century who performed in the 50s, 60s and 70s, of whom we have no recorded movement. Literally, they say they were amazing, and we have pretty pictures and costumes, but we will never know if they were really amazing or not. This is over. This will never happen again in the history of dance. Another thing is this setting straight of the historical record of dance. Again, not to say that this is in every instance, but in many an instance, for a dancer in the olden days, for the dancer to reach the level of a legend, all it took is just to stay long enough in the game. So if you were dancing and teaching and beating your own drum through your middle age and beyond, and people naturally respect age and experience, if you're still in the game at that age, people naturally perceived this dancer as a star. Is she really the best of the best? No, she just stayed in the game long enough that she is perceived as a star and as a legend. When she was within the context of her own generation and dancers of adjacent generations, there were many potentially people who were much more talented than her. But they fell out of the game early. Maybe they got married and had kids and retired. Maybe they gained weight and stopped dancing. Maybe they moved to an area where the dance scene is simply absent. That's it. All those people are gone. The only person who is staying there is our legend, who is not necessarily the best. This is not going to happen again in the history of dance. Another thing where the record is being set straight is in arts and in dance too, there are many people who are, like top established figures of dance. But again, it's not necessarily that they are spectacular dancers. There are lots of people who are this type of a figure simply because they are good businesswomen of dance. They organize troupes, they run performances, they organize tours. Are they spectacular choreographer or mover or dancer or really an inspiring role model? Maybe not necessarily, but they're good at business of, exchanging workshops, organizing people around them, touring around, and so on and so forth. If in the olden days the students are a captive audience, their teacher told them, the big star from over there is coming and she'll teach a workshop with us, and the students are there taking that workshop from the big star. Meanwhile, the big star is just simply somebody who exchanged the workshops with their instructor. This is not going to hold water, to fly again. These things are quickly becoming something of the past, because now you can see online through the available video who really is worth being your instructor. And this brings me to another aspect of it, is what it did to studying dance and to the level of dance. Because of the availability of video tools and seeing the best of the best, anytime you want, you can see the best of belly dance and any form of dance online. Because of that, intermediate dancers now are dancing better than the stars of the middle of the 20th century. And this is happening in all arts. This improving and gradual improvement of technique, and the technique getting more and more sophisticated. Not to say that this is all that makes dance. We know it doesn't. But technique definitely is improving. And I would say also expressivity and capacity of dance to be much more evocative. Before, the dancer depended on her local instructor. Her local instructor may be fantastic, but maybe not inspiring enough for this dancer to make the next step toward a higher level of achievement in dance. Now she can use fantastic video tools, instructional videos widely available, and have virtual teachers from far away, maybe from another continent, who can give her what a local instructor can't. Another thing that she can do is she can be fully aware of the true standards in dance. Again, she doesn't need to see dance only as represented by her local instructors or friends. She can see the best stars in the field anytime, day or night. All their performances are available now online.
The most positive change that I feel I've seen in belly dance really, I think, is the internet. This vast, deep, rich ocean of resources literally at your fingertips. And when I think back to the dark ages of belly dance, which weren't really all that long ago, when trying to find any scrap of information about costumes, about history, about how to dance, it was like the search for the Holy Grail. You would comb through the library, be glued to the TV watching old movies, be trying to get your hands on old record albums, both to look at the covers and to hope they had liner notes that would teach you how to dance. And I remember one of my first teachers introducing me to Habibi magazine, and it was like a revelation. This whole magazine with pictures of dancers and articles about the dance and advertising. You couldn't necessarily buy a whole costume, but you could get your pre-beaded fringe, and that was just so exciting. And we fast forward to now, with the internet you can get your whole costume, at the click of a button. You can get any kind of prop, chamadons, whatever you want. You don't have to wait for someone to come back from Egypt with their spare suitcase loaded with goodies. In addition to that, if you don't have a local teacher, you can order DVDs. If you don't want to wait for the DVD, you have streaming downloads. If you don't want to pay any money, you go on YouTube and you get instruction for free. And also on YouTube, and this maybe to me is the greatest positive change, it is that unbelievable wealth, that just cornucopia of fantastic examples of great, great dancing, of every type of belly dance and every type of dance that there is. All these fabulous, fabulous examples that can come to you wherever in the world you are and whatever local resources you may or may not have. We're all on an equal playing field with being able to see just how beautiful this dance can be. In terms of what I think is the most negative change, I kind of have two ideas on this, and they are both things that come from the internet. We have this vast pool of resources, but I kind of feel people are consuming these resources rather indiscriminately. They are not exercising really good critical judgment. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that it's real, it's true, it's valid, it's beneficial, it's good. You have to kind of think critically in the sense of perhaps doing academic research. Consider the source. Is this a primary source? Is this a secondary source? Where is this information coming from? And then once you have identified that, what is the agenda of the person or entity that's presenting this information to you? Is there an agenda? Is there a bias in there? I think we think a little more critically when we're purchasing something because it's our money going out. But when it's information purporting to be historical or sociological or about the dance, we want to think about it. Is this real? Is this valid? And this then applies to dancers themselves. I mean, the internet, in particular social media, is such a tremendous forum for kind of creating your own personal fantasy. Look at how many people in our everyday lives are kind of living out their reality TV fantasies just in the media, and then apply that to dancers, to entertainers that have a real vested interest in what they're projecting. And this, you can have kind of deliberate misimplications of information going to out-and-out fabrications. Unless you know the dancer or her community, again, you might not necessarily know, is this information all valid? How are you going to judge it? And jumping this a little bit further with the consumption idea, on YouTube, which again, so valuable for artistic information, so valuable as a resource tool, but I kind of fear it is leading to a culture of replication, of duplication, rather than invention and rather than creation. I saw this recently doing some research onto folkloric dances, and I'm looking for Hagala, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, why is every single dance using the exact same song? Every single one. I'm like going out of my mind with this song. And I realized they're all going back to Mahmoud Reda, the great Egyptian choreographer, whose kind of life work was taking folkloric dances and music and elements and redrafting them into a stage, a Western stage idea, and also had Western dance ideas that helped to make it a more appealing and more marketable commodity. So he is a logical reference. You would expect people to reference him, but not to completely cookie-cutter stamp, so many dances that were just so directly related to his work. Maybe we cut people a little bit of slack because, it's folkloric and you want to be authentic, and so you go to the authority. But taking it in a broader term, so many dancers, you get the impression that they're looking at all this beautiful imagery on YouTube, and the dancers of the moment, the hot dancers in any one of the genres of belly dance, and they're consuming the performances. So it's like, I want to shimmy like dancer A. I want ballet arms like dancer B. I'm going to do some side bends like dancer C. And what's happening as you consume all this, we seem to be maybe developing a little bit of a culture of dancers they're kind of like a conglomeration. They're a conglomeration of many parts, but it's not gelling into unique, individual, on-stage personalities. And, back in the day, back in those dark ages when you had such limited resources and you really had to dwell on it and ponder and work on it, I think an inevitable byproduct was you became more individual. You were more distinctive because you had to be. You had to work it out for yourself. And that, perhaps, to my mind, is the biggest negative. Not that the dancers aren't good, and in some cases, technically, maybe they're even superior because they're seeing so much. There's really no excuse not to see it. But where is that distinctive quality? Where is taking all these resources, taking all this inspiration, but letting your own voice come out and being yourself, even if it's kind of a messy, imperfect you as opposed to being a copy of someone else.